Hello everyone, welcome back here to the channels Tapa Olho Azul and Super Acadêmico. And today we're going to find out the big secret. Will sociology become a real science or will be just social philosophy? That's the question that's in this chapter of New Rules of Sociological Method by Antony Giddens from our playlist here, number 10, episode 10 today. Well, this is a rhetorical question. It's not. There's not an answer that satisfies this question because social science, in general, are problematic because they just appear not to be science as natural or exact science. But this is just like a hint, just like a bait for you to be to the end until the end of the video. So let's go, and don't forget to subscribe to both channels, and thank you for watching this playlist. We have been a lot of people watching these videos. Surprisingly, some videos have more than 10 no than 100 views. So let's go. Don't forget to subscribe to the channels, give a like, and please comment. Give comments and share the video. Okay, the chapter 4 is the last chapter before the conclusion. It's called the form of explanatory accounts. Form of explanatory accounts. He begins by comparing the work of Augusto Comte and Karl Marx. He says, in the writings of Comte and Marx alike, the science of social life was to complete the freeing of the human spirit from religious dogmas and customary unexamined beliefs. So it means that these two thinkers from the 1900s, for the 1800s and 19th century, they both believed that science should help the human being to achieve the superation of these dogmas, these beliefs that are not accountable, that are not verified. The phenomenological philosophers have sought to effect a critique of natural science by arguing that its claims to knowledge are secondary to and dependent upon ontological premises of the natural attitude. So it means that it's part of our being, our way of being, to ask things in this natural way, like questioning things. But the critic of phenomenology in this time, in the end of the 19th century, it's placed in the way that science was becoming so influenced that they need some kind of break, some kind of a thing, knowledge that says, wait, the human spirit still can make questions, and not everything is answered yet until today. Both phenomenology and linguistic philosophy culminate in a critique of social science. So social science, sociology, began wanting to have the same status of natural sciences. Of course, we cannot achieve that because the nature of the objects is different, as we said in the former videos. Of sociology are bound to be, the findings of sociology are bound to be unremarkable, since they cannot do more than redescribe what we must already know as participants in social life. So the conclusion should be that sociologists seem unnecessary and pretentious. Yes, we are really unnecessary and pretentious, but without us will not be there will not be the perception of the problems that today we have. For example, why today, this day, 2023, we still have the same kind of economic, social problems that were a problem in the 19th, 19th century. Why? Why? It shouldn't happen because the technology has advanced so much that we should have surpassed that. Okay? So here we are to question that. Conte in positive philosophy and sociology influenced the sociology as a whole, of course. He was the one that gave the name sociology. Durkheim's rules of sociological methods, from whom Antony Giddens takes this reformulation of the title, as we already spoke that in former videos, boldest expression of such a view. The object of sociology is to construct theories about human conduct inductively on the basis of prior observations about the conducts. So, as social researchers, we must observe particular things, small things, and then formulate a theory in an inductive base. But scientific theories are hypothetical deductive systems. The creation of theories involves several levels of conceptual differentiation. At the highest level, abstract postulates which cannot be given a precise definition in terms of their empirical contexts, but only in terms of their logical relations with the other postulates. So it means that sociology goes in the different direction. It formulates the theories from the experience base, from the empirical base. But the scientific theories, the whole theories, they take these hypothetical situations and formulate a whole theory that embraces everything. That's why it's hypothetical deductive. And in that way, sociology could never be that. We could never have a sociological law, for example, like the gravity law, or even a biological theory that stands something about transformation of life. And in sociology, we cannot have this kind of this form of theory. So then he comes to the most famous, I think, epistemologists about the theory of knowledge in the 20th century, Karl Popper and Thomas Kuhn. Karl Popper was British, I think, or I think it was British, and Thomas Kuhn was American. Well, Popper and Kuhn, not Kuhn with you, and they say things that are complementary in a way that help us to understand the way that the knowledge are formulated. And the structure of scientific revolutions, that's the book from Thomas Kuhn, major epistemological problems that in large part are shared by the natural and social sciences. That means he formulates that the communities of researchers faces the same kind of problems in the epistemological level, in the level of the formulation of knowledge, not on the different subjects. It's not like if you study the particles in the sun, you will have the same kind of a problem, the same kind of a question about how to formulate the theory, how to formulate the hypothesis that you have, so the community of other researchers can read and evaluate that In the same way that researcher dealing with the, I don't know, the the people that live in the refugees camps these days, running away from war. They are studying people, but they have the same problems of formulating the theory, formulating the hypothesis, the testing. The methodology is different, of course, but the epistemological questions are the same. That's what he's saying. He says, Kuhn says, according to Antony Giddens, Kuhn's formulation of normal science suggests that the development of science outside of certain revolutionary phases of change depends upon a suspicion of critical reason, the taking for granted of a set of epistemological propositions harder than upon the imminent permanent revolution of critical reason, which is at the heart of Popper's philosophy of science. That's why I said that they have complementary systems. Okay, Popper will say that the theories of science need to be tested in a way that the researcher must question its validity, try to falsify the theory, so it reassures the theory, since the test of negativity, the test of falsification, fails. So for that, when it fails, it begins the need for a new kind of paradigm, new kind of normal science, revolutionary science that creates a new normal science. That's why the change of paradigms that are spoken by Kuhn works very well, complementing the falsification theory, the falsification method. I don't know what's the method. It's all a logical thing. That's why, in the way, as if you didn't see the other videos, please watch the other videos or read the book. You can do both. I don't know. But in this way, it's all a language problem. It's all a matter of communication, communicating to others what you note, what you discover, what you think you discover about some subject, and testing that, and trying to falsify that in a logical way. And so, in a way, everything kind of zooms, kind of get together with the logical and the language. Falsification in popular philosophy, I already said that. Western science and religion of magical practice are not scientific in a way, of course, because they are not tested, they are not falsified. It's a beliefs system. Well, in a way, Western science is also a belief system. He quotes the theory of Evans Pritchard, the anthropologist Evans Pritchard, about his research with the Zen people in North America. That's a research about the way that magic works in that society, and it's validated by the belief that are shared. So the community is what establishes what is real and what's not real. Then he comes to the topic of science or not science, non-science. He establishes 4 problems. I don't know I'll be able to develop this in this video. It's already 40 minutes, but I'll try. 1. How science is to be differentiated from non-science. The grounding of science epistemologically. What is base? What grounds science in an epistemological way? The significance of falsification as a principle of science, as Popper says. the mediation of paradigms within the context of the development of science. So these four problems, and the what motivates is how you differentiate what is science, what's not science, what what gives ground to science in a epistemological way, what the importance of falsification as a way to assure that the theory is still valid because it wasn't falsified. And if it is falsified, it's possible for the community to develop a new theory. And finally, the transitions of paradigms to develop the science, to make the science go ahead in a progressive way. He says scientists and sorcerers seem to parallel, of course, in a way, the different culture differences. Western science, religions are magical. That's why he quotes the Zen research from Evans Preacher, because in the discoverings and the findings of Evans Preacher, he says that the sorcerer, the shaman of the Zandi people, works in a way that's very similar to the scientists. Theories are formulated and observations are made. Free debates and critical testing is the basis of what is science. Well, that's why the debates for the video in the beginning was, let's see if sociology is really a science. Doctrinal disputes certainly occur frequently. Basis of the critical reception of documented observations. This central legitimating feature of science often becomes dogma. Of course, it's a system of belief. Science is a system of belief. So it produces his beliefs and maybe become dogmas in a way that are very similar to religion. But defending science, as I am here, science is possible to break down dogmas by other theories, other paradigms. That one example in social science is very classical. Until the beginning of the 20th century, was belief that evolution was a thing in social science in a way that similar to the to biology, to the findings of Charles Darwin. And what we discovered as a community of science, of social science, is that the societies are not classified by a way that's similar to evolution of the animals. It cannot be done. Right? It doesn't make sense to construct some kind of classification of evolution from one people, one culture that is primitive, other that is civilized, and so on. That's wrong. That was the belief in the 19th century in social science, and in the beginning of the 20th century, that was discarded. It was part of history. We study that as part of history, but we don't believe that anymore. We social science, I believe many people believe this kind of crap about different stages of evolution between people. The patient's observation of happenings in the world disclose regularities which, having been verified by repeated empirical tests, are then stated as universal laws. That happens in natural sciences and exact sciences. Popper again, potential falsification, and again, if you have the potential of falsify a theory, it probably is some kind of science. So the theories in sociology are all possible of being falsified. So we can assume that sociology is a science because of that. if becomes some kind of a dogma, some kind of a law that's not possible to be argued, to be put in doubt, so you have something else, not science, not a science. For example, in sociology, we have some kind of beliefs about the Karl Marx theories that are classical. When someone is uh, caught in a way that the belief in the Karl Marx theories are so true that becomes an ideology and a political statement and maybe some kind of extreme thing. Sorry, that's not science anymore. And for science, it's need to be possible to be questioned. Same thing happens with psychoanalysis. Psychoanalysis, you cannot argue with psychoanalysis because it becomes part of the all psychoanalysis uh, analysis analysis of you as someone that is are saying something against psychoanalysis. So it's not possible to falsify. So it's not science. It's something else. It's not lose the validation, it's valid contribution, but it's not science. There's an item here about paradigms. I already explained what are paradigms. These are clusters of ideas that are for if paradigms are closed systems of epistemological premises which succeed each other by processes of revolutionary change, how is anyone to be able to rationally to adjudge one paradigm against another? That's the role of community. The structure of scientific revolutions, the work of Kuhn, in that work exaggerates the internal unity of paradigms. Of course, and Thomas Kuhn, he believed what he was writing. Unexamined assumptions shared by communities of scientists. Well, if a community, for example, if a community have influence, political influence, power influence, but by someone that have some kind of belief in what is being researched, what is being said, of course, this influence will affect the way that community accepts the paradigm. So the paradigm is not something that are detached from the people beliefs, the person beliefs. One historical example in communist China, until 1976, the leader of the people, leader of Chinese people, was Mao Zedong, and he carried out some beliefs about how to conduct the country. When he passed, the new leader, Xi Jinping, I think is that, I don't know, I'm not sure, sorry. But the leader that followed, he believed in other things. He thought that the China people, China, should take another direction, economically speaking. So the paradigm change. The country is still communist, is still concentrated power, one party, but the ways the economy was driven was different because the leadership changed. The matters at issue between rival schools are normally rooted in long-standing ontological and epistemological differences which appear and reappear in both the history of philosophy and that of natural science. I think it's pretty obvious that. I wrote something here. Let's see if I can read. The paradigm is influenced by outside factor and by other paradigms. Yes, yes, of course. I think one example is the influence of relativity, the Albert Einstein's theory of relativity, the influence of that in physics, in other kind of science and knowledges during the 20th century, 21st century to this day. There's more things, relativism and hermeneutic analysis. We already talked about hermeneutics. Hermeneutic analysis demands a respect for the authenticity of mediated frames of meaning. This is the necessary avenue for understanding other forms of life, that is, generating descriptions of them that are potentially available to those who have not directly participated in them. So it's like the ability of the anthropologist to describe the culture of a people, of a different kind of people, and it's possible for other people to understand without being in the same place. So this is basically the hermeneutical work when you translate something that you saw to other people that didn't see the same thing. Accept the possibility that the others may be right too. It's a comment that I made here. Yeah. So we must accept the possibility that the others may be right too. May be right. Sociology, unlike natural sciences, stands in the subject relation to its field of study. Yes, not subject object. Where we already said that. It's a very common thing in sociology, but that's not take the sociology in a weaker way. And that's our strength, I think. Also in other social sciences like psychology, anthropology, and political science. Formal logic does not deal in metaphor, irony, sarcasm. I remember this comment. He says that sometimes when we just use logical language, we lose the understanding of things, subtle things like irony and sarcasm. To become acquainted with a new paradigm is to grasp a new frame of meaning. We have to accept that. I promise I'm finishing. An anthropologist who visits an alien culture, alien does not, with a deepening knowledge of that culture, sacrifice her or his original identity. The specific task of anthropology, indeed, is that of mediating the description of the one in the terms of the other. Yeah, we already said that the hermeneutical efforts of the anthropologists, all types of social and historical research demands communication in some sense with the persons or collectivities that are the subject matter of the research. In my case, for example, I have to I have to live with, I don't know how to explain. I have to be with people that were not my people during my field work, and it was okay. It wasn't alien culture, but it was different from my common ground. Every competent social actor is herself or himself a social theorist. Okay, that's where I said that when we talk about the ethnomethodology. In ethnomethodology is basically that the acceptance that the common the lay people, the common people, are able to speak, theorize about their own lives. And finally, before the conclusion, I think I managed to finish, but before the conclusion, self-influencing observations of predications represent one aspect of a much more far-reaching phenomenon in sociology than it's true of natural sciences. So in conclusion, some new rules of sociological methods. Orthodox functionalism, as represented most strongly by Durkheim and later by Parsons, does embody an attempt to connect intentional action and institutional analysis via the theorem that the moral values upon which social solidarity rests also appear as motivating elements in personality. So this is the traditional way of thinking of functionalism. The production of society is brought about by the active constituting skills of its members. The structure appears as both condition and consequence of the production of interaction. So when we interact with others, we are producing the structure that we live in. That's basically what he's saying. Sociology is not concerned with the pre-given universe of objects, but with one which is constituted or produced by the active doings of subjects. That's us, what we produce in society. And that's the end of the book. So we finally finished this book, this collection of videos. I hope you have enjoyed. This final video was very long, 30 minutes. If you are tired, please watch in 2 parts, but I will not divide the video in 2 parts. I hope you have reached here the end, and hope you enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, comments, share, and please help the channels, both channels, to grow. See you next time with another topic. Bye bye.